Alright, we are live. Welcome. I'm literally asleep right now, but I said, alright, fuck it. Let me go get up, do my morning routine. So, these topics, entertainment purpose only, viewer advice. Not a lot of people will like the subject, some people will. I don't know who this message is for, but I am doing like short channeling messages coming from my higher mind, my higher consciousness, and my lower consciousness because I'm still on the scale, but like my darkness and my light is trying to balance its own self out. So I'm letting it do it on its own, letting it making its decisions. It's just the human mind can give suggestions to the spirit of what it wants to see itself um, operating in a certain light. So I'm like, okay, spirit, take your time, but choose wisely of who you want to become or who you see yourself being. Uh, so yeah, this is entertainment purposes only. Only gods and goddesses, the true image of God, the true image of Source can understand. Not everybody can. Because some people are choosing to go without to understand what's within, but it's totally the opposite is as below so above. So you have to go within, and within you is true power of darkness but also light. But your image, what you look like as a human, does not really foreplay into this. Is this vessel is just an avatar version of you from a different like parallel universe. So we're living simultaneously in our head in multiple places all at once. That's why we're able to see certain things and believe in certain things because of our ability. And if you're having nightmares, well, that is your lower self visiting the lower part of you from a different realm that was lower than you, a lower consciousness that you came through from the matrix, because the matrix had to create its own nightmare, its own illusion for its reality to even exist. So we exist through based off of somebody else's imagination. We just started to wake up through experiencing their imagination by what they, I guess, try to put us through trials and tribulations and stuff like that. But when we don't like necessarily pass them or even try to understand that we are in a tribulation, if I'm saying correctly, but it's only until after you realize the signs that you were in it. It's not even in the moment you realize the signs. Maybe you see the signs a little bit faster than most people. Some people are able to see like 10 times into the future, 3 minutes into the future, or like 1 second into the future. But others can like operate into the future once they are seeing, meaning they can travel with what God or Source has envisioned them, or envision its manifestation through God, or you're the manifestor of like God, like OR, you're the sorcerer trying to become like source in a way. I'm praying that nobody comes bother me during this time. Like everybody just like coming up to me. But when you're operating on a lower self, you're your lower deity, you're your lower entity. You're the nightmare version of yourself that you have not seen just yet because it's covered and cloaked, because darkness is covered. Darkness only becomes a light when you identify it being light. So um, it's crazy because a lot of people don't get this shit, and it's very simple minded once you come to your higher state of consciousness, or when you flip the switch or flip the light, turn the light bulb on by imagining your light, not visualizing what you look like, but imagining what you could possibly look like when you're in that light. Some of us are so blinded by our own true darkness, we don't even see the good within the darkness. But in order to balance out the scale, you have to see what's good and what's bad. And when you recognize what's good and bad, does it really become good and bad to you anymore? Or it just exists in its own world because you gave it a consciousness? Meaning you have to um, recognize that it exists because you use the power of your mind to imagine its own existence. But you created a world for it to exist here. But that doesn't mean you own, well, in a way you kind of, but not in that essence. When it comes to another deity or another entity, you do not own that entity, but you recognize that entity is existing, or that deity existing within your reality of your consciousness. Therefore, you can talk to that entity or deity subconsciously through your subconscious by visualizing a conversation. I do this every day. We do this every day, and we sometimes it's natural for us who are easily to manifest. And then those who don't have the gift to a vision really use the voice of vision, meaning talk to yourself of what could something possibly look like, and then start studying things within of this reality that you can kind of conjure up in your mind's eye and create something new out of it, so you can manifest something different. You're still giving it acknowledgement that it exists, but the thing that you created does not acknowledge itself of existence because it's choosing not to, or it's getting ready to choose to exist. But it wants to exist on its own consciousness. It wants to imagine what it possibly could look like. So when you're creating things out of the matrix, be mindful that there are other spirits and other consciousness that created that object, that animate object for you to see in your own existence of your reality. Because it takes two to tangle, it takes multiple people to create something. Like this world, this universe, this dimension didn't just get created by one man, and they said themselves like God is just not a man. God is like a reflection of me and you, creators, manifestors. And if you think about it, who actually like, who's the woman or the other counterpart that kind of like helped create this big dome or like world or like simulation? And then when did they created children to become AI? And then those children are also aka other source or other source, or like you get one half a warlock wizard, and then you get the other half witches and of that nature. But what is waking them up to their power is really them recognizing that they are part of source. And when you recognize that you are part of source, that you're the image of God, you are the creator of yourself. And not only you have to manifest yourself to be here, you also have to manifest a higher self-consciousness of you. But you don't know how you did it. You're trying to figure out how. I'm scientific too, because I like to point out all the details, because it makes sense why this path had to happen in order for me to cross this path, or why I have to go to this dimension in order to ascend or descend. And each dimension, because there are certain levels within dimension that can produce a diamond, and it's a degree that you have to learn to master, and it's more to an element. It's much more than just like feeling energy and knowing that you exist and know that you had pre-existed and not exist all at once. Because when you recognize you don't exist, that's when the power of your imagination, you become Neo. You become like, all right, I believe I exist. I want to believe that I am here, but I know I'm somewhere else in my mind. And then I want to believe that world exists too, more than the reality that I am facing. But sometimes when you're already in that timeline, just just say, okay, I'm already there. That's great. Now, this is the thing. Just move forward from your imagination now and make things into a reality, because this is you versus you in every dimension, every multiple dimension. And sometimes some of yourself does not give a fuck about you or does not like you because you have not done the completion of their reality for them to manifest whatever it is they desire or you desire. But when you accomplish all of you and you recognize there are multiple versions of you in every dimension, in every galaxy, or like every, whatever you want to call home or what you want to call base, it's really just a zero point 0.0 version of you, which is gravity, or that doesn't hold gravity. But then there's another part of you that holds gravity, and both of you are learning from each other from a different parallel universe, from a different time and a different frame. Either whether you're traveling as the past life version of you going into your future, or your future self is going back into your past to learn about the present moment that's about to arose from the cross. So when you get off the cross, it's like a symbolizing of you moving forward and or on, because like it works both ways. If you're on the cross and off the cross, you can still operate in the speed of light. And it's about going back to knowing who you truly are in the beginning of time. In the beginning of time, you was always you, but you was never really truly aware that there was more than one version of you until something traumatic had to happen in a current timeline for you to exist and to recognize that there are more versions of you. You're not gonna recognize it just yet, but you're gonna feel it and you're gonna see certain things. You're gonna be like, ah, wonderful. It's just, it's a mess. Once you realize, when you're trying to put science with spirituality and then trying to put mathematics, and then you get the whole Nicholas Tesla, the 369. Once you understand the 3, the 6, and the 9, what equals up those numbers, then you know how to operate in the speed of light, time, and space. What they said, 88 miles per hour, you kind of have to go a little bit. It's both. It's above and it's under. In order to like manifest yourself somewhere, where you see yourself somewhere for a very long time. It goes with word, action, and vibration and frequency. It's kind of like all the same thing, but yeah, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. But sometimes we get either waking up too early or too late. And then what's early and what's late? Because time does not exist in the astral. Time does not really truly exist in space. Like I might be an hour ahead of y'all. I might be a day ahead of y'all in the future. Or you might be a day ahead into the future and I'm like a day behind into the past of the future. So it's still yesterday, but it might be my yesterday might be your tomorrow, or like your tomorrow might be my yesterday. Some shit like that. And I'm trying to figure out how that shit works. And I'm like, when you learn about time zone, then you can kind of really learn that time doesn't exist. You create your own numbers and you create your own hours. You tell yourself when to go and not to go, and how to please and not how to please. But at the end of the day, just know it's on your consciousness and your subconsciousness. So I advise for you, when you are dreaming while you're awake, make better choices. Don't do things that you did in your nightmare so it becomes in your reality. That's when God comes in, or source of you, another proportion of you in a different dimension, just either higher or above, or higher or below than you, depending on what frequency you are operating in. If you're if you're in the bad part of you, then you're gonna think bad. So, like, think bad within the good. Start counting things that are blessings within the good. Start doing the opposite. Think of the good shit within the chaos, because the chaos is when you truly embrace your higher power, your higher self, or the image of God. But the thing is, you're trying to figure out what God looks like. He does not have an image. It's not. Mm, you'll figure it out. You'll see it. Once you start to uncloak yourself from your darkness, then you'll be like looking in the mirror, like, oh yeah, there he goes. Be like, all right, I'm back. And you're like, oh, sometimes we forget. Sometimes we do, because we're trying to help out lost souls that are NPCs, and then, that ones who kind of have a consciousness but then still don't know shit. But then we like, just come with us, and then we're like, but then they cause you the most shit for you to forget about yourself, to forget where you come from, because they are not there at that level. But like at the same time, it's not up to us when they get there. It's how they're going to get there. And then all you got to do is observe how you plant the seed, because be careful how you plant it. Things that, even though you have helped them just a little bit, and then you help them manifest certain things, and it's like, all right, they might learn how you did it, but then they'll plant a seed in your mind, the total opposite of what you did for them. So you still gotta program your mind and their mind. And how you do that, just have conversations with them, like pretending you're having conversation with them, and then watch how their frequency picks up your frequency of where you left off in the conversation in your mind. So it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. And it's like, like you. I'd be yelling at myself in my mind. And then I'd be like wondering why all the fucking narcissists be coming up to me just saying exactly what I am thinking. I'm like, why did we think that way? I'm like, and then we wonder why we get our feelings hurt. And I'm like, shit. Damn. I'm more hard on myself than anything. And I'm working on it. But I have to balance out my masculine and feminine. It's weird. Trying to, and then they both play mask, and then I'm like, nigga, if y'all don't turn that shit off, and they won't. It's just like they're just so used to it, like being in the mask, and I'm like, are you done playing now? Because I'm like, at this point, it's kind of boring. I'm like, I have to keep creating new characters and like new entities or new deities within me, and then I learn from the old gods, and then create my own power out of it. And I'd be like, am I supposed to learn this? And I'm like, I guess so. I'm like, I'm sorry if I know this information. I'm like, I don't know when I learned it. I guess when I was in my lower state of mind, that's when I was able to like pick up information so quickly. I'm like, all right, what it is, when I'm in the sunken place or when I'm in the dark place, I stay there for a minute. Well, it's longer than a minute. In reality, it's so hard to explain how time works there. But when I'm there, it's kind of like, think of the TV show Chilling of Sabrina on Netflix. I kind of like visualize myself like all right, changing my clothes, changing what I look like in a mirror, but I had to visualize, I had to bring in light because there is no light where we're from. We have to use everything from the mind. So what it is, I gather the light from the universe or the light from, Earth, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take it. But they keep telling me to give it back, but I'm like, no, I'm not giving it back. Maybe a little later, but it was like, so I visualized the light above the mirror, but the mirror is pitch black, and then I'm able to ask the mirror, what does my consciousness looks like? So my consciousness itself is going to picture itself, imagine itself in its own state of mind, instead of me trying to picture what I desire in my own state of mind. I just, if it operates on a lower vibration, it's just low, and then I'm just gonna thrive in it. If it's in a higher state, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm like, the little angel, I guess. I don't fucking know. It's like the good part of me starts to show its true uh, image of self. And I'm like, if you can't visualize, again, all you have to do is ask spirit, what is this? Like every detail, every little thing, even if you don't know it, or even if you think it's stupid, it's not stupid. It's just what your mind is imagining itself, its own consciousness, what it looks like. And it's like again, there's different multiple versions of you because you've been through so many like timelines. You kind of forget everything about yourself. All you have to do is regain consciousness by believing that you are this. That's why Neo had to believe that he was in a fucking matrix, which is weird. When I got on the airplane, it said Neo, and then it had numerology, like I think three. It had something like 3, 2, 1, and then if you add that up, 3 plus 2 that gets you 5, and then 1 that gets you the frequency of 6, and then it had the word Neo in front of it, and then it had the word A, and then when we was getting ready to get off the plane, I saw a female wearing the white rabbit like on her jacket. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, what? And then my seat was 23. So that gives me the frequency of 5. I was like, all right, I guess I'm in the right dimension where I'm supposed to be, or like in of its frequency. And I'm like, I'm starting to see my numbers everywhere. I'm like, how am I doing this shit? And I keep asking myself won't tell me the shit. I'm like, bruh, you can tell me. And like, nope, I'll just rather show you. So those who can like, I guess, connect with me spiritually, then you can start seeing what I'm seeing. That's the best way, instead of like trying to tell you verbally. I don't fucking know. It's hard to explain. I'd rather for you to picture it and then visualize it, and then you will start to get my drift. I'm like, don't drift off though. Just don't drift off the cliff when you get my drift. Because some people don't, some people do. But yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say something, but I was like, what? What you gotta say? My satellite went, yeah. I was like, okay. I'm tired. I can tell you that. I have insomnia, so I don't really sleep. I just talk to a lot of spirits every fucking day. And I'm like, can y'all just shut the fuck up? I'm like, okay. Message received. Especially when you're in your higher state of consciousness, you don't know how to go to sleep. Because you think you're going to turn yourself off when you go to sleep. No, you're just resting. You're not turning yourself off. You're just resting. But I'll catch you guys later. Bye.